Okay, good afternoon everybody. I'm Heather from St. Nicholas Abbey and I'm standing actually out on the terrace. Right behind me here is a new building but designed to look old, and this was actually designed by our new owner, Mr. Larry Warren. He's a Barbadian architect and he bought the property in January 2006. Now in here we have our rum tasting. This is where we do the rum tasting. We have our lovely 8-year-old rum and 12-year-old rum, and we also have our sugar and molasses in here. We bottle sugar and molasses. We take all the fruit off the plantation and we make little jams and jellies, so we also sell them to the visitors as well. Over here is Mr. Warren's office. This is the old stables over this way, and if you look very carefully you will see that what he has designed blends very beautifully with the old stables. So there are his offices, his architect offices located here, so that he can work from here every day and be hands-on to the whole project of restoring the house and bringing back a lot of the old activities to St. Nicholas Abbey. During crop time, we use the old steam engine to crush the sugar cane, and we've just started making our very own rum on the premises, and it's quietly aging down by the new brand distillery. We have a film that we show here, Barbados 1935, an original black and white film which shows life on the plantation, and of course you can do a tour of the house, seeing the old house which was built in the 1650s, showing all the china and the beautiful mahogany furniture, well over 200 years.
In India right now, they're taking the fiber from this, put the tissues into mixed together so that they will have fiber. It's taking it from the amaranth.
Oh. That's making
yeah, amaranth.
I am Kofi Akobi, Cultural Officer for Theatre Arts at the National Cultural Foundation, Barbados. We are here at Batsrock Beach, where we have brought the participants in this year's NCF NIFCA Arts Camp. Now, although it is an arts camp, it is also a cultural exercise for the children, because not only are they involved in learning the performing and visual arts, but they also learn about Barbados and the environment in which they live. This morning we came from the NCF in West Terrace via the West Terrace community. We crossed the gully by the University of the West Indies and came through an area that was very rich in medicinal plants and trees that are indigenous to Barbados. Even here at Bats Rock, there are many. In fact, I don't think that there's any place in Barbados with as many manchineel trees. Now, manchineel is a tree that has a fruit that blisters, and sometime in the past, the people at the Ministry of Tourism felt that the tourists were endangered and started cutting down all the manchineel trees from around the beaches. We came here today. Usually this camp, which is an annual camp, we spend at least 4 days or 5 days going on tours to different areas. We made a tour last week to Rock Hall in St. Thomas, which was the first free village in Barbados, and we also visited Farley Hill National Park, and some of the older children, the 12 to 16s, went to Nicholas Abbey. Well, today everybody came to Bats Rock, and before we left the NCF, we went on the open area where they're going to be building houses soon and showed the children grasses and herbs and plants that are indigenous to Barbados and that are used for medicinal purposes. And it is surprising that this generation of children are growing up in an entirely different environment to the previous generation. So they are not as knowledgeable about the indigenous plants as they should be. Even here at Bats Rock, although the manchineel fruit blisters and is poisonous, many of them are seeing it for the first time. Even some of the other things that were common when we were growing up, even things like sucking sugar cane, for example, coming to the beach and picking sea eggs. These are things now that are exotic to this generation of people. So we try during the course of the 5 weeks that we have to expose them as much as possible to the environment and to teach them at least what the names of the plants are. In the future, the ones who are interested, we will go on to show them the uses, but this particular tour dealt primarily with the getting to know the names of these plants.
There are many people who couldn't find employment in these areas, who lived here, couldn't find work. Many went hungry, many went to bed hungry. Could you remember a day or night where you went to bed hungry? Very few people go to bed hungry in Barbados today. Okay? So people were rioting against those conditions. Okay? So you will find that a lot of the rioters came from this area as well. Church Village. And all throughout Bridgetown. Let's continue. Now, the Golden Square is significant for several reasons. First of all, the meetings that Clement Payne held, and you saw the bust of Clement Payne over there. The meetings that he held were held mainly in the Golden Square, around this area here. All of this area we're standing on here, that's the Golden Square. For example, exactly where the square is today, there were houses. There were houses. Old houses. Yes, dilapidated houses. Houses in which the boards were falling off. Houses that were leaning. So it speaks to the poor conditions that existed. Now, when Payne was deported on the night of July 26, the crowd came back to this area and held a meeting. Okay? And they decided that the police had deported Payne and that they were going to riot. So the first place that they smashed was this building here, the old Empire Theatre. Now, in 1937, this was one of our prime theatres. This building here. It looks ugly now, but in 1937, this was a beautiful building. Okay. Now, this is what they did. They threw rocks at the door and smashed the door. It was a wooden door. the iron, it was a wooden door, and they smashed the door, and there were people in the theater watching a movie. And these people ran up to the front of the theater to hide themselves. Okay? So the first trouble occurred here. Now, this theater also has some stone domes. Like you see this wall here? This small little rock, a small little monument there, and the entrance. They had some domes like that, and they tore down those domes because the crowd was very angry. And then they went over to this church. Now you pass down the church and you can see a gate. They pulled down the gate as well of this church. So let's go over there and cross the road. This is Upper Broad Street. We are here in front of the Norman Center. But in 1937, there was a store here called William Fogarty and Company Limited. William Fogarty and Company Limited. Now, the rioters came down Broad Street, but they left out this store. They didn't attack this. They attacked stores on this building here where we're standing. They attacked this store here, K. Shepherd. They attacked Collins Limited as well. They spared Fogarty's for two reasons. One, at the time, Fogarty had a sale. And you could get things in Fogarty's cheaper than you could get in other stores. But secondly, his prices were always lower than the prices on this street called Broad Street. And I checked the prices myself. So like prices of umbrellas or prices of hats and bags were lower than prices at Harrison's, for example. And they also attacked C.F. Harrison's down the road. Okay? Yeah, he's from Guyana. He's from Guyana. And after the riots, Fogarty's opened his store, but the others could not open their store.
Because it was wrecked.
Yes, and scared of the rioters as well. Okay?